Hey everybody, welcome to another Upgrades. I'm Jeremy Knoll.
And I'm John Suarez.
And today we are talking about the Doctor Who deck, Paradox Power. So this is the one that involves the 12th and 13 Doctors and has a lot of other really cool cards in it. I have not watched much of 12 and I haven't watched any of 13, something that I'm going to fix soon. But I think this deck is really cool because it has one of my favorite mechanics in a lot of it. Cascade.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, it sure
It's
does.
a Teamer Cascade deck. So it is helmed by the 13th Doctor, which is Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, and Yasmin Khan, the companion. 13th Doctor is 1 green-blue, 2/2, legendary creature, Time Lord Doctor, Paradox. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. And Team TARDIS at the beginning of your end step. Untap each creature you control with a counter on it.
Combination.
New Simic Legend. Yasmin Khan is a 3 and a red legendary creature, human detective, 3/3. Tap, exile the top card of your library until your next end step. You may play it. And Doctor's Companion. Doctor's Companion has to be partnered with a Time Lord Doctor specifically, cannot be anything more. No more fun shenanigans. But a lot of these, obviously, you're probably just going to be pairing them with the Doctor that they go with.
These go well together. These go very well together.
So we are going to be going over a few new cards, a few cards that we would suggest to add into the deck that are around the $5 and under budget, and a few cards that we would suggest taking out. Obviously, by no means is this a comprehensive list because there are 50 new cards in each of these decks.
It's a lot.
It's so much. But there's a couple really cool cards that we wanted to go over.
There absolutely is.
First off,
the first card we have is Me, the Immortal. So this is the first time we've seen what kind of looks like a digital card in print. So it's 2 colors, green, blue, red, 3/3, legendary human rogue. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you choose to put a +1/+1 counter on it, first strike, vigilance, or menace counter on it. Counters on it remain as long as it moves to any zone other than your hand or library. Exile keeps it. Graveyard keeps it.
Well, there was Skullbriar.
Skullbriar was
that
one was just graveyard.
just +1/+1 counters, and it was just graveyard, I believe. Yeah.
And then you can cast this, or you can cast Me, from your graveyard by discarding 2 cards in addition to paying its other costs.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very unique card.
Yeah, and Micey Williams on there as well.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm like, that looks like Arya Stark.
Yeah, it is.
That's because it is.
It is.
Turns out.
Yeah. But yeah, that was it's such an interesting card.
Yeah, it's very,
so flavorful.
It feels like an arena card.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. But it gives you like a bunch of options. It is a little bit to keep track of in paper.
To keep track of. That's why it's very bold.
Yeah, but it is a very cool concept, I think. The next one, I'm going to let you do this one because I think you really
like this. I put this card in here.
Yeah, you put this one in here.
This is Flaming Tyrannosaurus. 5 colors, red, 5/5. So I'll just, real quick, I don't know anything about Doctor Who. And if you told me there were flaming dinosaurs in it, I'd have been like, all right, let's watch it. So then I watched an episode, and I was like, there are no flaming dinosaurs here. I don't know if I just missed it. Maybe I watched an older Doctor. I didn't watch the 12th and 13th Doctor.
I believe this one is in one of the Capaldi runs. So we'll make sure you know what episode it is and let you watch that one.
I'm glad they got it out of the way here so that it's not in the Jurassic Park, because there are no flaming Tyrannosaurus Rexes. There's all kinds of weird stuff, but none of them are just on fire. But anyways, it's a 7-mana dinosaur, 5/5 with menace. Paradox, whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, Flaming Tyrannosaurus deals 3 damage to any target, and then you put a +1/+1 counter on it. And whenever it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. That card is sweet. That's an awesome giant card.
It's just, it's so cool. And it's 7 mana.
Yeah.
That's really great for Maelstrom one.
It sure is.
That's all I'm saying.
It sure is.
Our next one is River Song, who's probably one of the better known characters from the reboot of Doctor Who that is not a doctor. And it is 1 blue and red, 2/2 legendary creature, human Time Lord Rogue. Meet in reverse, you draw cards from the bottom of your library rather than the top. And spoilers. Whenever an opponent scries, surveils, or searches their library, put a +1/+1 counter on River Song. Then River Song deals damage to that player equal to its power.
That card's obnoxious.
It is obnoxious.
Cool ability. First time I think that's ever happened where you're drawing from the bottom of your deck.
Yeah.
And then just, what'd you do? You cracked a fetch, you Terramorphic Expanse. Cool. Just ding you.
Yep.
Just ding you.
Yeah, it's a really cool one. River Song in the show meets the Doctor, but you only see it from the Doctor's point of view, obviously.
Okay.
But she is meeting him at various points in time, and she's like oh, I know everything about you the first time that they meet, that he recalls them meeting because she's met him in like
so then he remembers that it's happened.
So
Got it.
it's kind of a cool whole thing, and it's a really cool character. The next one we have
Clara Oswald. This is a 6-mana 2/6 legendary creature human advisor. Impossible Girl. If Clara is your commander, choose a color before the game begins. Kind of has that prismatic Piper,
yeah,
so that you can use it. If a triggered ability of a doctor you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time.
Yeah.
And then it also has Doctor's Companion.
Yeah, this one was cool. Like because Claire's just a cool character. She's the Impossible Girl. She's in some of I believe in some of Matt Smith's run, and then into Capaldi's run, the end of Matt Smith's run into Capaldi's run, and it's just really cool because it's a colorless card and has that prismatic Piper thing, but then does more.
Yep.
Which is
just something really relevant.
Yeah, which is very relevant if you're going to be pairing it with a Time Lord Doctor, which you have to with the Doctor's Companion, as we said before. So that one's just a really neat card, and I like that one a lot. The next one, I saw this one and went wild because I love Cascade. Bigger on the inside, 3 red-green, enchantment aura, enchant artifact or land, enchanted permanent has tap, target player adds 2 mana of any one color. The next spell they cast this turn has Cascade.
That's a good card.
Ramps you twice and gives something Cascade.
Yeah.
So cool.
Nothing restricted either. Yeah, you just the next spell.
Nope. Next spell.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Next spell you cast.
That's pretty good.
So we're gonna look into cards that we would add to the deck, and these are all cards that are going to be around $5 or less. Obviously, there's other cards you could add to these decks that are going to be way more expensive, and we've definitely looked at some and went,
yeah, I definitely did that.
Wait, that one's $20 for some reason, stuff like that. So
yeah. Much like the last deck we talked about, the first upgrade for this one is Keeper of Secrets. This card is just very good in these decks. 5 colors and a red, 6/4 demon. First strike haste, Symphony of Pain. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to target opponent.
Yeah, I think that both the Warhammer 40,000 decks and the Doctor Who decks are definitely going to have cards that are like this, that you're just going to be like, man, that's such a cool thing for this niche, it's going to be Suspend or Cascade or whatever, and I want to put it in that deck. And you're just going to have that over and over and over again. You're going to have a Jori Litu deck where you're just going to have a bunch of Doctor Who cards in it now. Stuff like that. So really cool stuff. Next one.
Go on.
Near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
Maelstrom Wanderer. 5 green, blue, red. 7/5. Creatures you control have haste. Cascade. Oh, I love this deck.
You need to Cascade into that Flaming Tyrannosaurus.
Yeah, you do.
The next card we have is Faldorn, Dreadwolf Herald. And I chose this card because I've gotten my head beaten in by it multiple times by Daniel Holt. I think every time I've played against him, he's been playing this and he's beaten my head in at least twice. Colors red-green, 3/3, legendary creature human druid. Whenever you cast a spell from exile or a land enters the battlefield under your control from exile, create a 2/2 green wolf token. You can pay a colorless, tap it, discard a card, and exile the top card of your library, and you can play it this turn. So it enables what you're trying to do with the 13th Doctor.
Yeah, it's such a cool card, and I really enjoyed that commander deck from D&D.
Yeah,
I was trying to remember if it was the first one or the second one.
That one.
Yeah, it's a D&D set. The next card is definitely near and dear to my heart. Another Simic card with Cascade. That's Shardless Agent. 1 green and blue, 2/2, artifact creature human rogue. Just has Cascade.
That's it.
Big enabler in like Hypergenesis style decks. But I just love it in my Maelstrom Wanderer deck.
I love this version we have on screen that is the Modern Horizons 2 that shows the set symbol.
The set symbol from
Plane Chase. Don't forget.
Yeah.
This is where this card came from.
Yep.
And the last card we have is Saw It Coming. Colorless, blue, instant counter target spell. Not very good on its own. That's just cancel, but it does have Foretell.
Yep.
So you get to foretell it from your hand for 2, and then the foretell cost is colorless and a blue. So while the spell isn't great on its own, it is very good when you're trying to play things from exile.
Yes.
Just having something sitting over here, just waiting, and maybe you counter the card you really wanted to counter. Maybe you just counter something so you get the trigger.
Yeah. And a lot of foretell cards are like not instants. And the way that foretell works, it says that it cast it on a later turn for its foretell cost. So you can't cast it that turn, obviously. But this just, as soon as you pass the turn, it's active.
The number of times I have tried to cast a Raven form as an instant is astronomical.
Yeah. All right, so now here are some cards that we would suggest taking out of the deck. Again, These are new cards. Some of them are reprints, and it's difficult to evaluate. But we're gonna go with the first one, which really seemed like a value add to the deck.
I think it was a very good ad. It's its first real reprint outside of the list.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
And that's Carpet of Flowers, 1 green enchantment. During your main phase, you may add up to X mana of 1 color to your mana pool, where X is the number of islands target opponent controls.
Yeah. This is an insane card in Commander for high-powered decks. If you're playing CDH or very high power, it's very good there.
It's great in this deck because all 4 decks have blue.
They do, so you get to choose somebody, but they're all multicolored decks, so you're only going to have so many islands.
Yeah.
It is pre-constructed, so they're going to be more basics than normal.
Well, honestly, there's only like 3 or 4 basics of each type in each of them, too. So it's kind of like, it's not super great, but
place.
I see why they did it.
Yeah, it's a good reprint if it makes sense thematically, which I assume it does. There's probably something related to Doctor Who where the flowers are there. But yeah, give it a reprint. It's nice to get those. Mm-hmm. So, next card we have is Heaven Sent, blue-red. This is a saga. Chapter 1 is Investigate. Chapter 2 is Investigate. Chapter 3 is deal 1 to each opponent. And then if an opponent has 0 or less life, draw 7 cards. Otherwise, exile Heaven Sent, and you may cast it this turn. That card's cool.
Yeah.
But very unlikely for that Chapter 3 to ever actually hit.
To hit the 7?
Yeah, very unlikely. But if you can set it up to get it, that's nice.
Yeah, it's unlikely to get it, but it is neat that it's basically just keeps coming back and then getting the clue tokens over and over and over again. But is it worth it? Probably not. We'll see how it works in your deck. The next one is Thajarian Witness, 1 and a green, 0/4 flash, and it has Bear Witness. Whenever another creature dies, if it was attacking or blocking alone, exile it and investigate.
I had to zoom in because I thought it had a handful of cards, and it didn't just have its hand.
No, it's just hands.
I thought it was like I thought it was looking at its hand for its next play.
You're like, we're playing cards, I guess. No. Cell phones and card plan. The next ones you took out.
I did. I took these out. I think these cards are awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're very good in what this deck is trying to do with the Cascade and the playing around. But the first card was Jenny Flint, calls blue-red 2/2. It partners with Madame Vastra, which will obviously be the other card I was suggesting to cut. It has first strike training, and whenever you sacrifice a clue or food, it gets a +1/+1 counter on another creature you control. And then the Madam is also partners with Jenny Flint, must be blocked if able, and whenever a creature dealt damage by this turn dies, create a clue or food, or clue and food. So clue and food is nice. I do like that it's a lizard detective.
Yes,
that's sweet. So, I'm a fan of lizard detectives.
This is definitely during the Capaldi run because I have seen this. And Madame Vastra comes to a door, and there's a really famous line of her saying, "Hello, I am a lizard woman from the beginning of or from the dawn of time, and this is my wife."
I like that.
And so it's super great. Madame Vastra, Jenny Flint are just like a fantastic pairing in the show. I think a lot of people are going to be really excited for the lesbian lizard and wife couple as their commanders. But yeah, for this deck, I can see definitely taking.
Yeah,
these
I would like to make these honorary partners for sure.
Oh yeah,
I want these in my command zone. I want to be able to play both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be fantastic. They're partners. They're not. But it's such a cool one. But yeah, we would take those ones out. So let us know what cards you would add to the deck and what cards you would take out. Obviously, we're trying to limit ourselves to that $5 range. If there are other sleeper hits that you can think of in that range, add them to the comments so that other people can see. There are going to be way more expensive ones that you can definitely put in there. Again, you might be able to possibly trade on that Carpet of Flowers for a bunch of other cards you could add to this. That's true. I haven't seen how much of those are going for anymore, especially after this reprint, but it's definitely a good card to have. So let us know in the comments. Also make sure to like, share, subscribe, binge, and watch the other videos that we have for the rest of the Doctor Who decks. And thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time.